everyone, welcome to Power 365 Solutions New Power Series. Our plan over the coming weeks is to showcase a specific scenario with the aim of building out all of the components across all of the technologies within the Power Platform. The scenario we'll be looking to explore is resourcing, and the series will cover everything from model-driven, including some solution layering, as well as some best practices within tables, forms, and how we built resourcing apps databases. It will cover Canvas apps, including the complex formulas like calculation of booking profits by booking, and time zone complexities for any of the other digital nomads out there. Power Automate, including some best practices, useful tips and tricks, and the direct workflows used within the resourcing scenario. And it will even touch on Power Pages. Now, whilst we've placed a scenario onto this series to make it easier to follow, the videos will be solely aimed at educating you from the basics of the Power Platform all the way through to the complexities, looking to unlock some of the power available. Now, this video is all about setting the scene. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the end product and we'll break down all of the functions that we're going to cover. Now, the resourcing scenario that we're going to cover is one that we noted internally. I needed a way as a resource manager to easily bulk load my team members and give them a front-end app as an employee portal to allow them to understand what they were booked on. Now, there are plenty of third-party products out there that we could have used, Hub Planner, etc. But instead, we sat back and we thought, we're a Microsoft house. Why don't we build something internally? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the app. I'm going to show you the back-end databases. And then I'm also going to show you another app that we then use for our employees to submit their timesheet comments so that me as a resource manager at the end of the week can pull those logs and send them through to our clients for any billings. What we've got here is we've got our initial resourcing app. Now, this app is absolutely tailored to myself, so most of the buttons here won't make too much sense until I've explained them. We have our Joe blogs, and we also have within here, we have our list of team members. Inside that, I'm then able to select that I would like to do Joe blogs. And I could also, if I really wanted to, I could select somebody else from this list and I could load them through, which will now allow me to bulk load people as we go. We've then got the ability to say whether they're going to be billable or not. In this scenario, I'm going to leave it as yes. And I also needed, at one point, I needed to add a button here that would allow an override because we may well have a weekend or it might be some overtime, in which case the booking profits change, the day rates change. We've then got our list of clients, and inside our list of clients, we then have any projects that we've loaded that might be relevant to the client itself. So a filtered list here. Now I'm going to leave it on Academy. We've then got our ability to choose our dates. So for this purpose, I'm going to select next week. And I'm actually going to get rid of myself from here. And what I'm going to do now is I've then got the ability to load up to 5 days. So I've selected a Monday and I could load 1 day. I could load 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days. Within those days, I can then see the booking day rate that's being charged to a specific client. So at the moment, we've got our internal booking day rate as just a demo. And then in this, I've got the ability to say whether that team member is going to be an all-day booking, an AM booking, or a PM booking. For obvious reasons, that changes things like booking profits. And maybe if I don't want to have the Wednesday, what I've got the ability to do is then drop a specific day as needs. I can then go through and I can load those by using the load button, which will then go and it'll place all of these items into the database for that user of Joe Blogs to see on his calendar. Now, it's worth noting there are extra things in here like time zone control. At the moment, I'm currently in the UAE, so there needed to be a time zone control. Otherwise, all of these bookings would have shifted to 5 a.m. in the morning. So this is something that we needed to take into account. Very, very useful for our digital nomads. Outside of that, we can then, if I wanted to then continue to bulk load, I added in a little button here, which would allow me to go to next week, which will automatically change all of the dates, reload all of my pieces. If I need the Wednesday again, I can take it out and then I can load. Now, what you've got here is you've got the ability to see how easy it would now become for me to take an empty calendar all the way through and now populate a full calendar. Again, next week and load, and it's done all of these dates for me. If I then flip that over through to the actual background of this app, what we'll now see is we're looking at the model-driven side. And we've got loads of things on the left-hand side that we utilize internally with regards to sales and or opportunities. And at the moment, we're dealing with our bookable resources, which they'll be covering in the model-driven series. You can see I'm currently in Joe's calendar, which is in a month view. And we had no bookings when I first loaded this, but we've just done 3 or 4 weeks worth. So when I now press refresh, we'll see all of these bookings that have come through into his calendar. And you can see that the Wednesdays have been skipped. And we'll also be able to see, if I open one of these up, we'll be able to see all of the things that come with it. Now that allows us to then break down all of these right-hand fields, which then tells us the booking day rates, the resource costs, the booking profits. And because this was a half-day booking, you can see that the booking day rate has been halved, the resource cost has been halved. We can see the duration, etc., etc., etc. This then allows us to do some financial projections in charts, which we'll also be covering during the series. And it also allows us to pull a timesheet for a specific client at the end of the week or at the end of the month so that we can generate any billings necessary. Now that's all good and well. However, all of the clients that we're then submitting these timesheets to also then need to know what was done on these days, which we've then loaded through with the use of Power Automate, an automated app that then allows these users to be displayed a timesheet, which they can do on their phone if needs be, or on their laptop as per. This timesheet is generated on a Thursday, and it allows them to go through their weeks as necessary, but ultimately reminds them on a Thursday that they need to have these timesheets completed by Friday morning. A very, very simple timesheet collection app. There was no complexities needed here. The scenario was very basic, so we left the app very basic too. That allows me to go through and insert my comments as necessary. Or if something's incorrect, then I can mark it as incorrect, place the detail in, and then that will come through to me as a resource manager to manage. Once I've saved these comments, those comments go in against this booking, and I can then submit and close as necessary. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of different things going on here. There's a lot of moving parts. The purpose of the series is really to break open all of these apps, showcase all of the functionality, and walk you through the step-by-step build of this entire thing. It's going to look at all of the best practices within the new studios, because a lot of the studio designers have changed. And it's also going to cover how all of the automates have been built and how all of the model-driven has been built, covering off how we see our best practices with regards to solution layering, what you should and shouldn't do with forms and views, as well as all of then the complex functionality and formulas that you can then see within the Canvas apps. Very, very excited to announce this, and I look forward to seeing the first video completed by Alex next week.